are back. Welcome back to the Nick Hall Comedy Podcast. I am, of course, your host, Nick Hall, joined as always,
Josh Griffey.
Well, here we are.
Should we just rename our show the Antonio Brown Watch?
I'm starting to think we should. So, we, boy, what a hell of a 4 days or whatever it was. So, we're going to the pod last week, and there's like breaking news.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown is going to be suspended. And we're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It can't get any bigger than this. So we rush and do the pod. And then, from there he puts a video out of a recorded phone call with John Gruden.
Yeah, secretly wiretapping everyone.
This fluff piece. This absolute fluff piece. And so, I see the video that night. Griffey sends me the video, and I'm like, we gotta parody this. We rush out, and we make this parody of this video. And, I remember thinking, it was like, it can't get any weirder than this. And
well, just imagine, let's take a time out in life. Imagine you go to a team, you burn your feet off in cryotherapy. You say that you'll retire from football if you can't use your decade-old helmet.
Yeah.
Then you try to physically fight your GM, say suspend me. So he says, okay, I'll suspend you. You put your suspension online, you get in more trouble.
Yeah.
Then you have to come do an apology press conference where you cry in front of your teammates who you love and you want to be a Raider.
Yeah.
Then cut to,
Yeah.
You're secretly recording he's been recording a lot of people, I assume, more than Gruden, right? There could be a whole Mission Impossible size file of secret phone calls. Then you say, fuck it, release me.
Yeah.
They release you. You record another video where you run and jump for joy.
That was the dumbest
That was his
video
week
ever.
where we left off, right?
Yeah.
After our parody. That's already like an enormous mountain of
Yeah,
news.
well, it's like we're filming the parody. And I'm thinking, like, it can't get any weirder than this. As we're filming, he gets released and signs with the Patriots before we even get done filming the video.
Within what seems like...
And we did that video in like 4 hours. Like,
yeah, we started on Saturday. By the time we're finishing editing, we're like, wow, this is a great closing chapter for us for a weird story in NFL history. What the fuck?
No. So I'm like, okay.
But not only that, the Patriots signed him within about 10 minutes
Yeah,
after he was eligible.
Yeah,
they did an entire contract.
First of all, before we even get into the other shit, that's something fishy's going on there.
Let me tee you up, guy who hates the Patriots more than anyone on earth.
That was the plan.
What are your thoughts, AB to the Patriots?
It was the plan all along. The Patriots offered a first-round pick to the Steelers. The Steelers said no. So he goes.
Yeah, because we wanted less.
They go and trade him to the Raiders. And
right.
He pulled all of this shit intentionally to get cut so he could go play with the Patriots.
Okay, so last week
it was orchestrated by the Patriots.
We're on
undoubtedly
record.
Something illegal happened.
We're on record as conspiracy theorists, right?
Absolutely.
For sure. We love this shit. You do think this was my problem with this is, from what I've learned of Antonio Brown, it feels like not even close to smart enough to pulling this off.
Yeah, I think so.
But this is the other thing too. So I
He's
get
not
why
very
the
smart.
Steelers didn't send him to the Patriots, right?
They didn't want to
that
trade
makes
him to a
perfect
rival.
sense.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown's long game of what can I do to get cut from a team that seemingly would have let him do anything because they're so desperate to not suck, and Gruden's so desperate to not look like a rube. I mean, the fact that he was slow playing it makes me think that none of this. Because why wouldn't you immediately go to the fistfights?
See, I'm one-upping it. I don't think he was the brains behind the operation. I think the Patriots were. I think there's absolute tampering.
Well, I mean that solves
collusion.
the biggest hole in the
collusion, and they're feeding him all this shit. Just call him a cracker, and you'll get Crackergate.
This is okay. By the way, Crackergate. This happens so often online.
Oh yeah, God.
This is a weird story. We're gonna have to do a lot of these pauses. But I kept reading online from sports fans, and it made me sad on Twitter where they're like, imagine if this was reversed. Guys, let me just say this here. If you don't understand the difference between the N-word and cracker, you need to do more research before you start putting things in writing on the internet.
It's... I agree that you shouldn't be throwing that term around just as we shouldn't be throwing that term around. However, in comparison,
is there actually wait though?
Is
there a single white person who's ever been offended by the term cracker?
No.
Like unless you're one of these white grievance guys that is desperately looking
exactly.
to be.
Yeah.
Like, it's only one of those, like, oh, I'll be clever by saying
Right.
it's the same. It's absolutely not the same.
No, it's not. It's
right?
not even,
it's not the same.
They're not playing in the same arena.
Right.
It's not the same league. They're not even playing in the same country. It's not even. Yeah, it's not the same at all.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. But
Cracker
by
Day.
any
Come on, internet.
Well, it's like it goes back to that. There's like an old John Mulaney joke where he's talking about using the word midget,
right.
and the people at the network were like, you can't say midget. That's like saying the N-word, and he's like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
He
not
goes,
even close.
You know how I know that? Because you just said midget, and then you called the other word the N-word. He goes, that's how I know it's not the same thing. That's
we don't call it the M word.
Nobody's hesitating to say cracker, but everybody's still saying it's not the same. It's not.
Well, because also if you say the C word, that's not the word you think of. Cracker's not the one.
No.
That's a good bit.
Yeah, but it's
also of the list of Antonio Brown's transgressions, which we found out got even longer. Crackergate might be like 50.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good Lord.
Okay, so wait. So walk me back through your conspiracy, right? Lay it out for the internet, right? Moon landing style. What you think happened here with the Patriots? Because again,
well, the Patriots
apparently he wasn't eligible to be signed until what, 4 p.m.
Yeah.
That deal was announced by Schefter at like 4:15, 4:30.
Immediately.
And those contracts have to be. I've never read an NFL contract that has to be what, 30 to 50 pages minimum.
It was already drawn up. Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about millions. And do you think it's possible that teams like the Patriots have placeholder contracts and they just have to switch numbers so the speed doesn't matter?
I'm sure there's a template that
right.
they can use. No, but I mean, when you get a guy like Rosenhaus going to the table, there's probably all different kinds of things that get written in there.
True.
But, with their team of lawyers probably on both sides, it probably doesn't take them long
right.
to draw something because they've done it 1,000 times. You
sure.
know what I mean? But anyway, so here's what happened. The Patriots go and try to get him. They don't get him. And we all know, Bob Kraft was part of a fucking sex trafficking ring.
Oh my God! Come on!
And he didn't get any trouble. Like he did. They're like, "Don't come on, Bob, stop." You know what I mean?
Bob was a customer.
He knew what was going on.
Yeah, from the jet, he's like placing operatives. Yeah.
But that's the Patriots.
No, Robert Kraft just happened to get a hand job at the wrong place. He's a victim customer.
I sometimes think that Roger Goodell is a robot that Bob Kraft made. Because the Patriots just continually get caught cheating, breaking the rules, doing terrible shit that they never have any consequences for any of their actions.
Brady got suspended for a nonsensical Trump.
And then Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and wins three games. And come on. Fuck off.
First off,
Garoppolo sucks. Did you see him?
Let me break this piece by piece. If Goodell could build robots...
No, Goodell didn't build the robot. Bob Kraft
right. If Kraft could build a robot...
$30 billion.
Right. If he could build a robot, why not build the jerk-off robot?
Well...
Right?
I agree.
Debunked.
Yeah, he's a mad scientist.
Secondly, let's go through the list of their cheating, right? Spygate, not a big deal. I would assume a lot of teams do that.
But I doubt it.
You really doubt that people have their emissaries out?
They're not just
out
filming practices.
The filming was not clever. I'm not saying they're clever at being criminals, right? But so there's that.
The Deflategate.
Deflategate is the biggest crock of shit.
It's not
of all time.
I mean, they were going to win that game regardless, but they still cheated.
The measurements of the footballs were all different. There's no actual number of what people know those were.
No, it was proven that they were deflated. And they ended up, they blamed some fucking ball boy.
Well, first off, the fact of a ball boy trying to garner favor with Tom Brady actually makes perfect sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
And also, Aaron Rodgers said that he liked his pumped up more. And we're like, that it's the same fraction, but we don't think it matters because it's him and not Brady. And all the quarterbacks
I'm not saying
said
that changes that game. They still would have whipped the Colts' ass.
There was the one stat that was
but
funny
what
is
I'm saying is that
they
they
never
got
fumbled.
caught cheating and there's still no repercussions for it.
Tom Brady got suspended for that.
Eat a dick for 4 games. You can't.
Well, you just said Garoppolo sucks, so losing Brady to Garoppolo.
Yeah, and somehow they still won.
Well, because they're in the AFC
Because
East.
they're the Patriots.
Because they're in the AFC
No, because
East.
the Patriots fucking cheat.
The biggest conspiracy theory is why New England is in a division with Miami. How does that happen geographically and not lucky?
I've actually thought about going to law school, becoming some big shot lawyer just to investigate the Patriots. Like, I thought about shifting my entire life just to do an investigation. And then when I was done, I'd be like, I'm going to go back and do this other shit.
I'll film the documentary.
I don't want to be a lawyer anymore.
We'll call it All the Patriots Men.
I just want to get that satisfaction. I want to be an independent,
want
third party.
You want to get
I don't
Rob
want
Kraft.
any fucking... But
you want Rob Kraft screaming, "You can't handle the truth," and
absolutely.
You're like, "I'm done lawyering. I want."
You're goddamn right. I ordered the code red.
You're goddamn right. I ordered the deflations and the hand job and the filming and Antonio
Guys
Brown.
like me go out and make these decisions.
That's right.
Fuck off. So anyway, so the point of this is the Patriots go and try to get Antonio Brown. They don't do it. The Steelers won't trade it.
Right.
I get it. Makes sense. So they come up with this plan. All right, AB, you want to play for us? Yeah, I do. Here's how it happens. And sure enough, he goes and gets himself released. And they're like, here we are. Come on.
But when do you think
called
they
it.
stepped in? You did call it on this podcast.
I fucking called it. He's
when
gonna
do
be a
you
Patriot.
think they stepped in, though?
Probably almost immediately. Like,
When
I'm
do you
not
think-
even. I bet he didn't even. I bet his feet aren't even fucked up. That was probably prosthetics that they put on there.
They're like, who did the fly? Call that
no,
guy.
and then like that didn't work, and they're like, damn, okay, shift gears. Start talking about your helmet. Nope, that didn't work. Shift gears. You know what I mean?
They started too small. Or do you think that's part of good screenwriting? You gotta
they
gotta
built up.
work up.
They built up, and they finally just fucking hit your GM and call him a cracker, and like that should do it. You know what
Barely
I mean?
though. Like that almost didn't work.
Barely.
Imagine the world where it's like, hey cracker, and you try to punch your boss, and they're like, we can look past it. That's the X factor to me in this conspiracy is that I still honestly can't believe the Raiders released him. The Raiders already were so fucking deep in the hole, and they manipulated Hard Knocks to make it seem like Antonio was not a problem.
Right.
It's like, why cave at this point?
They also had the option, I don't remember what it's called, but they had the option of basically like shelving him. And so nobody else could get him. And like, why would you, like you said, why would you release him and let him go play for somebody else after he already butt-fucked you? Like, as hard
you
as
got
he could?
nothing out of it.
I would have fucking shelved him and been like, all right, nobody gets you then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, it's like what you do with a kid. It's like, go to your room and disappear. And if you want to come back and have Instagram and commotion and be on ESPN every day, fucking play football. Yeah. The Raiders, honestly, at this point, the Raiders shouldn't, like, stop construction in Las Vegas. Like, this is one of my teams should be death penaltied. Like, you just let that guy go for nothing.
Yeah, that whole
After
organization.
all the shit you went through, you just walked away from this guy?
Yeah, and you're out 2 draft picks or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That they traded. Yeah.
And they have no future anyways. They've already, like, giving away picks and all this
I mean, that whole
They gave away
organization
Khalil Mack. Like, it's insane.
They're just one big cuck. It's just...
They
They just are. The Raiders are just the husband watching their wife get fucked, and like it's embarrassing.
Well, it's like even on Hard Knocks where they're like, oh, remember that cool poem about the Raiders? And it's like, yeah, I remember the Raiders were a thing when my dad was like drinking beers in college. Like the Raiders fucking suck and have sucked my entire life essentially.
Pretty much.
Like, I mean, they had like a couple seasons
Early
here
2000s,
or there, but, like,
they had that little bit of a run with Rich Gannon, but that was like
how'd
pretty
that
much
go?
it. Yeah.
How'd that go?
Well, the Patriots cheated then too. Well, they did. That was the Tuck rule.
This
Like,
is the
by a
genesis
miracle.
of all...
By a miracle, that fumble wasn't a fumble. Whoa! What? Fuck off! I fucking hate the Patriots. But enough
I like
about-
how this is all coming.
Yeah.
This is actually the perfect news cycle for you.
Yeah.
And see, I thought it was for me because the Steelers are involved, but this is the Patriots and cheating and all the way back to the early Raiders.
It's egregious how much stuff they've gotten away with.
They haven't gotten away
no
with it. They get in
consequence.
trouble.
No, they don't.
They lose games. They lose money. They've lost players.
No, like if you cheat a game, like you shouldn't be allowed to play anymore. You should be done.
You think they're just kicked out of the season because of a...
Absolutely. I'm talking about a lifetime ban.
Like them and the Raiders have to only play each other in like exhibitions.
Fucking stop cheating.
Yeah, that's our one game a year in England. You guys just play.
They get no repercussions. I hate them. I could do 5 hours on the Patriots right now and how much I hate them.
Buckle up, guys. Here we go. No.
But I digress.
But it is... I don't know. I think a lot of the charges seem a little trumped up. But this is the other thing I've said on this show before, too. What makes me mad is that you were saying the Patriots are masterminding and cheating this and that. Why are teams like the Raiders not doing this?
Well, because they're idiots.
Right. But it's
They're
like,
just idiots.
guys, You have to cheat. And then, of course, I like this, too. I ate some shit from a couple people that listen to the show because the Titans just came out and fucking crushed the Browns.
And also, like, you have to remember, like...
That one guy who said he had the Lindell White jersey is probably just dancing on my grave.
It's like the love child of Bruce Valanche and Chucky that runs the Raiders. Fucking what's his name?
Fucking Bruce.
I mean,
how many episodes did it take us to get a Bruce Valanche in here? That's a bit of a failure.
So anyway,
we're not even done with the story though. This is the thing. Then they get Antonio Brown. Tom Brady says, "Hey, just come live in my pool house." A decision I think he'll regret today.
Yeah.
Then the Patriots go out and put one of the all-time worst beatings on my Steelers. I mean, it was such an embarrassing game to watch. And honestly, I was tweeting this. I was like, when is it okay to just say, can we fire everyone, right? I like Tomlin as a guy.
Yeah.
Everyone always talks about his win percentage, this and that. We have had one of the worst, most stagnant offenses that somehow produces yards. Yeah. It's like this straw man of statistics. It's like, look at all these yards we have.
Yeah.
But if you watch our games, the play calling is garbage.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that we had guys like Antonio and Le'Veon and this and that helped cover it up.
Sure.
And now you see the Steelers like, we don't need any good skill players, right?
Right.
Or we'll develop them. That fucking sucked to watch. That was really hard that we couldn't complete a fucking pass anywhere.
It was brutal.
Unbelievable. And then you're like sitting there and you're like, fuck, Josh Gordon's back and he's playing pretty good.
Yeah.
And everyone else on their roster is playing pretty good. Oh, and they're going to add Antonio. Like, how many NFL fans, honestly, after that game were just like, fuck this whole season. Yeah. Like, cancel the fucking season.
Josh Gordon, another Patriots cheat. There's no way he should be in the league. He's on strike 10.
He's
on strike 10. If he were on any other team, he'd be gone.
The only person Josh Gordon cheated was himself.
I agree, but he's on strike. He's on strike 10. I mean,
maybe
he's expended his fucking appeals.
Okay, you know there's a guy who's in the league on roster right now who snapped his kid's arm and threatened to murder his wife on the phone.
Agreed.
So I have a hard time being mad at Josh Gordon for weed.
Yeah,
again, like you said, it's an IQ test.
I'm not mad at him for weed, but he's on strike 10. Like, if he were on any other team, he wouldn't be playing right now. But somehow the Patriots managed to get him reinstated.
I think the strike system is nonsensical anyways. Right?
I'm not saying
breaking your kid's arm should be the equivalent of 300 strikes.
I agree. But that's the way the rules are.
Yeah.
And if it were any other team, he wouldn't be playing. But somehow the Patriots managed to get him reinstated for the 48th time or whatever the fuck that he's had to file reinstatement papers. Fuck out of here.
I see.
Fuck out of here, Patriots.
Were you like the rest? I honestly was like, it was one of those, I was like, man, I'm glad this game happened in week 1 so I can stop watching football here. Right? Like, I was like, we just need to cancel this whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of teams were riding high, but this one was like, that was fucking crazy
bad.
to watch.
The only thing worse was the Dolphins.
Okay, now this is a good, interesting question, right? What do you think about the Dolphins players and players in general, right? Like, tanking has become a thing in sports.
Yeah.
And they say, you know what? We want the fuck out of here. We don't want to tank.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's bullshit because you sign papers, right? You're under contract. You're still getting paid.
Right.
But I think one of their arguments, too, that I found that was interesting on Twitter was, if we have such shitty players and no one's trying, like, someone's going to get hurt.
Well, yeah.
Like, now you're risking your health and your future.
I agree with, like, the contract stuff, but also, like, if you sign there to go play and then you go in and you find out that they have no interest in winning and they're just, I think you should be able to get the fuck out if you want. I like a guy that doesn't want to do that.
Well, it makes me say, why can't the Dolphins just say, we're going to sit out a year? Like,
Right?
we're done. Like, why even play the games?
I agree.
Again, that to me gets back to, you are risking people's health for nothing.
For nothing.
Because we talk about every
to go
football
get Tua,
game.
who will be a terrible quarterback in the NFL.
What about the kid with the hair, Lawrence? Yeah, get him, man. He would be perfect in Miami with that hair and the beach bum.
Oh yeah, he'd kill it.
But yeah, these guys are putting it on the line, and if you're telling them it's for absolutely nothing,
yeah,
I do think that is when the contract thing kind of falls apart.
Yeah,
like what happens if someone gets Shaziered out there, and you're like, just so that they can intentionally be trying to win games? I don't know. I think they got a case, man.
I do too.
I think you should have to let those players go and then fill them in with the replacements or whatever, right?
Bring Shane Falco out.
Yeah. Get your Uncle Ricos of the world and say, hey, we're actually going to do this. Do you think they should be able to walk?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Because I think their theory is the Dolphins is like, we'll put them through this for a year and then next year we'll be good. It's like, well, you won't.
Well, yeah.
This is not going to be like a fast fix. You're bad at every position.
Yep.
right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know.
So
I thought that was interesting for sure.
So the fun thing is that we're 20 minutes in now, roughly.
Right.
And
should we cover the rest of our NFL news before we get to the big story?
Like, that's how epic this Antonio Brown saga is. It is.
Well, okay,
it's the Odyssey.
Yeah, right.
Told in today's time.
Let's stay chronological for a minute, 'cause there were two more things I wanted to ask you about. What did you think? Did the Cowboys do right with Dak and Zeke, or was that just week 1 matchups?
I don't know. I mean, Dak looked pretty damn good.
Dude, he had a perfect passer rating.
Yeah, he looked pretty damn
After
good.
we just said like he's a $13 million quarterback, disguised Andy Dalton Scooby-Doo
I mean, he still
style.
hasn't done anything to get $40 million a year, but he looked pretty damn good.
Well, he had a good game.
Yeah.
That's the best game of his career,
He
probably.
went out and did what he had to do to be like, I told you should pay me. You know what I mean? Because
Fat Zeke.
Because in
as
this
they
day and
say.
age, it's what have you done for me lately? And,
Yeah.
and he's out there. You know what I mean? He's out there doing it. So
The team looked good.
yeah, they did look good.
The team looked good.
They look good.
Maybe we're going to eat a little shit on that. I still will stand by that 3 years from now, there will be no Dallas Super Bowls, and they're going to regret that money.
Yeah.
But again, this was a week 1 of me eating shit, right? The Titans just crushed the Browns. Dak fucking
was
balls
wonderful.
out. Yeah. By the way, as a Steelers fan, my week was so hard. So I was like, oh, great. Now Lamar Jackson can throw. Granted, it was on the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm
like,
not putting anything into that.
Still, that was fucking brutal.
He'll be on his back.
There's
more.
nothing I want more in all of sports than Purdue University to not have a basketball program and for the Ravens to suck all the time, and I'm not looking good in either. That one hurt. But then the Browns thing has been horrible this offseason because they have talked so much shit.
Yeah,
and I get it for the fans because the fans have been still giving them their dollars like fucking rubes.
And more than ever probably this year.
Right, but that's what I mean.
Giving them
Post
money.
LeBron, they've been so desperate for something. And I'm on record of a team like the Browns you should not be supporting fiscally when they're so bad. So they have been fucking blowing it up. Odell Beckham comes out in the game wearing this gigantic douche watch.
$350,000 watch.
If I'm on the other team, I'm snapping that
all
thing
day. Yeah.
immediately.
That's my only goal.
Right? And then I'm trying to cleat it, spit on it. Like, fuck you. That's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know why that bothers me. It's his money. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, it's probably insured, so he's probably
But it's just like, to me, that was a microcosm of their whole team. It's like, look at us, look at us.
Yeah.
And then we saw what happened, and they got fucking spanked by a team that we all thought would be bottom half for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean,
no one thought they'd be as bad as the Dolphins.
As hyped
or
as
whoever,
they were, the only thing I was waiting for was for them to put a Super Bowl shuffle video out before the season started. It was like, you guys are gonna really disappoint yourselves.
They also shut it down because they're like, we did it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys signed some guys, but you remember that you still suck until you don't suck anymore.
I will say
and
this.
You haven't won shit.
Well, no, assembling a roster that people are even excited about, that is a Super Bowl for Cleveland.
That's a step. Yeah, that's a bigger step than they've taken in 3 decades.
Oh, it's so good.
At least.
Baker just fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Delaney Walker doing we are who they thought they were.
40-year-old Delaney
after
Walker
he caught 2 TDs.
dominated their asses.
Amazing.
And that dude's got like 2 fake knees. And I mean, he's on AARP, and he just dominated them.
It was the week where I was like, the Browns could have been our entire show because I was even like, I was so excited Monday to turn on Cowherd.
Yeah.
Because you're like, even with all the Antonio Brown stuff, he's like, oh, wait, A-Block, I got to rip the shit out of Baker again.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like,
he
this
hates
is too
Baker.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's
great.
so good for me as a Steelers fan and like what looks like, oh, so we're not going to win the Super Bowl, even though you told me we were going to be favorites again. That was amazing. And
it was fun to watch.
They have a pretty rough schedule at the start.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be good.
Yeah, and
Browns, way to still be Browns,
and the
man.
thing of that beating is like, I think most people believe like the Titans aren't that good.
No, the Titans are fucking good.
I mean, they're not bad. They're not bad. They were almost a playoff team last year, but they shouldn't be stomping you out by 30 fucking
But still,
points.
I think they're worse than Houston and worse than Indy still.
Yeah.
But like I said, hey, Delaney Walker guy who backs into parking spaces who hated my guts on that Fairweather fan pod, this is for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Enjoy your 1 week. Good for you, man.
Good for you. You got one.
You got one on me. Hey, I'm a big man. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
That's fine. You crushed me on that.
You are a big man.
We'll see where we are by the end of the year.
Large man.
Girth, weight, fat. Okay, so now that's kind of all we need to talk about. There was football.
Yeah.
There is a way bigger story.
Yeah.
That just fucking dropped last night. Again, Antonio Brown. This is the Antonio Brown Watch show. As if it couldn't have gotten weirder he joins this team, makes us think we should shut down the entire football season.
Yeah.
He's living in Tom Brady's pool house. Immediately after he gets signed, this was my other thing we didn't get to with the conspiracy. already has fan art of him as a Patriot. You know, business is booming, money. Belichick driving him in a bus, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, FYI, Antonio, the next picture of that is you in the back of the fucking bus. Like, Bill Belichick's not playing your shit. Then more fucking news.
Yeah, so here's how it went for me last night. So my girlfriend doesn't really, she's not into sports that much. So when all this Antonio Brown stuff started, I just kind of gave her the rundown. I was like, you've heard the name Antonio Brown? She's like, yeah. And so I just start giving her the rundown, and like every day since then, I'm like, remember that guy I was telling you about? He did something else. And so last night, I'm sitting there with her, and pull up my phone, and I see it. I see the news or whatever, and she's like, why are you reading about Antonio Brown again? And I go, well, it continues. He's done something else. And she's like, no fucking, she's so invested in this. And has never, she's like, what did he do now?
It's tickled her.
What did he do now?
It's tickled her true crime fan.
She hasn't watched a football game in maybe ever. Like, that's how fucking far reaching this Antonio Brown side is. Like, ladies and children alike that don't have any interest are like, what's he going to do now?
Well, my wife loves the Steelers with me. That's like one of our things we do. But as soon as he left the team, she's like, well, I'll never hear his name again. And I'm doing the same thing with her, and she's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So it comes out last night that...
Actually, I think Amy has the Antonio Brown jersey. That's her jersey she picked out.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
Ooh, boy.
Ooh, boy.
Takes on double meaning now.
Bonfire. Yeah.
She's got brown on her back. You know what I mean?
She's not the only one.
Yeah.
We learned from... All right, so here, we kind of tickled around this. Antonio Brown accused of 3 sexual assault allegations.
With his trainer.
Right. Mm-hmm. And again, I talked to you about this. These are kind of sensitive subjects and very serious issues.
It's serious.
Don't be the guy on Twitter that is like, well, that's not real rape and rape. All right, the third one is real rape, right?
It's all real rape. I mean...
Right. No, because people are like, well, sexual assault versus rape versus... Okay, don't be that guy. None of this is acceptable.
They're only accusations. Like, we can't... You can't drag somebody through the mud without giving them at least some due process. Yeah.
Right. So a personal trainer says she was hired by Antonio Brown to train her. So one day they're training. Next thing you know, he's got his dick out and is trying to make advances on her.
Yeah. Trying to kiss her.
Another time, they're doing whatever in the middle of one of their sessions. She turns around and he has his dick out again. This time he nuts on her back, right, without her consent. Third one, he held me down and forcibly raped me.
Full on, yeah.
This is the part of the transcript or the allegations. I read like the one sheet, right, explaining what happened.
I went down a rabbit hole last night.
Yeah, I actually was reading for 30 minutes because, again, I don't think the NFL has a great track record on player behavior in this stuff. But this one sounds really serious because here's the part that got me. She lays out in the court affidavit or whatever I read that he called her groveling and apologizing for what he did. And I was like,
that was
dude.
After the second, but before the third.
Right. Well, I was like, she may have receipts.
Oh, yeah.
She may have John Gruden to Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
And, like, we might have, like, actual audio of him saying, I did this.
Right.
And then, but not the third one, which is the most serious, but... I mean, after what's happened, I mean, his whole saga, it's kind of been... Because this is the thing. We've made a lot of fun of him and talked about him being kind of a shitty guy. This was all kind of like sports nonsense, right? The feet and the helmet and I may have manipulated my way to the Patriots. That's in a game. This is an actual crime where you could go to jail.
Taking, my take earlier about the conspiracy of the Patriots, taking that rhetoric or that hyperbole out of it, but it doesn't seem that far-fetched because we're witnessing a guy essentially spinning completely out of control, out of reality,
for sure,
in front of our eyes. You know what I mean? Like this guy is a loose cannon, so there's no reason to not believe this girl, in my opinion.
Well, my theory is you believe every allegation and then you let it play out, right? Like, because this is...
You take every allegation seriously.
Well, I read on Twitter once where some lady did the best tweet I've ever seen on this, right? Because it is one of those things you're like, oh, they're all lying to try to get... And lady was like, people who have gotten famous and rich off of a rape allegation. It was like one. And then it was just blank.
Right.
Like, it's just not worth all the trouble and the pain. Like, I don't know. To me, this is the thing that struck me, right? When we were doing that parody video... We were watching his video a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And the use of his kids. But what struck me is how false it all was. I was like, because he even says in there, I'm a real person. I was like, are you? Like, he strikes me as this guy who's totally lost grip with reality and thinks he is an actual. It's the equivalent of when we do our videos and we read comments sometimes and you're like, do these kids think that you're actually Kent Murphy? And I'm actually Hank, and Chucky's actually Chucky, and those people exist in the real world.
I wish.
I know, but that's what it feels like. Antonio completely lost himself in this. He's Antonio Brown, but that now is only this construct of social media.
He's got some kind of God complex, almost, like it seems like.
Sure, and a lot of great athletes and people who are great at their professions have some of that. But
to an extent,
this is the dark side.
This
of
is
that.
the sociopathic side of it, almost. Like he's a full-on narcissist. Yeah, full on by what I've seen, like that's sociopath. Like his behavior is absolutely sociopathic.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. The thing that's fucking insane about this is it was all, we loved it because we're like, fuck, we need to talk about another crazy ass stupid thing Antonio did. This is just repulsive and sad, man.
It really is. It's
I don't know, but this what do you think is the fallout from this, man? Because this one to me feels like this could be the end of the road. And again, I don't think the NFL has had a good track record on this, right? I think the business comes first,
right?
And because again, there are other guys that have done things like we said. What's his name?
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, he fucking cracked his kid's arm.
Yeah,
and then threatened to murder his wife on a phone call, right? We saw footage this summer of another guy fucking punching a lady in the face, and I don't think they have a great record on this, right?
No, they don't.
The couple game suspension and this and that's just not enough for like if this stuff is all true. I mean, this might be it. And this could be the end of who might have been a top 5 all-time receiver.
Well, they have a program in place, the NFL does.
Yeah.
To be able to punish, not necessarily punish, but to be able to, because the argument is, okay, if so-and-so gets accused of this, you can't go and take their job from them without giving them due process.
I'm a total believer in due process.
His day in court and all that. Right. You know, because there always is two sides of the story. I'm not saying she's lying or he's lying or whatever.
Well, we don't know.
But
all we've read is an accusation. To court.
Right. It's an accusation, so that you have to be afforded. That's part of your constitutional right, is to be afforded your day in court and tell your side of the story.
Sure.
So the NFL actually has a program in place. You can put a player on the exempt list.
Right.
Which means they can't play, but they still receive their payment. They still get paid.
Right.
And that's basic to take that time. Okay, you're not playing right now until we figure this out.
Right.
But we're not going to take your pay from you.
Right.
So that's smart to have that program in place.
Yeah.
But the swiftness lack of swiftness they do, putting that into effect for these is, I mean, it's all non-existent for the most part.
And the other thing, too, is, he needs to have his day in court, but also the NFL as a business is like, we don't want to have this talked about on our national broadcast that we hope every family is watching.
On the field,
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just brutal.
Yeah.
And it does, I hate when this stuff happens because, one, you're just like, God, this is like real victims and real trauma. And again, it's like, I want to get back to, talking about conspiracy, Antonio, and like foot burned off.
That was fun. This isn't fun.
This is no fun.
This is it's terrible. And it's like you said, like, I don't want to sit through every football broadcast and every time you see Antonio Brown, Chris Collinsworth's like, here's a guy, he's like, shut.
If we could also just say, period, like, I don't want to ever hear Chris Collinsworth, period, about anything.
It's a whole different story.
God damn.
He's growing on me. I'm starting to like him a lot more.
This is your troll. You're always a steer against the curve guy. Yeah, you're a living troll, so of course you do. I just, his voice even grates me.
But then it's something.
I mean, it's like, God, he just adds nothing. He adds nothing about him.
It's. But back to that, it's almost like, you wanted that story to continue, the antics, the Antonio Brown, and eventually it was going to cap itself, and like this is the absolute worst way for it to cap itself,
right?
Because it's got to stop now. Like now it's done, and now we've shifted from fun and lighthearted to dead serious.
I'm not even sure that the Patriots are going to even want to deal with. Like, he might just be gone.
Right.
Like, teams might just be like, we're off of this until
I think we're going to know something
resolved
in the next 48 hours. Like, what's going to what his fate's going to be.
Like, he might actually just be out of the league until this is resolved. And if it's proven, and this is the other hard thing, is these things are always hard to prove, period. Right. This might end in some kind of settlement, and it's always a stain that
right.
hangs over him.
And his last month hasn't earned him any leeway. You know what I mean? Like his last month or month and a half has earned him no leeway.
Well, this is the time.
Not
when
that he should get leeway with this, but if there ever
like
was
a
chance for any kind of leeway,
this is an allegation. We've only read a one-sheet affidavit.
Right.
So yeah, like it's not leeway. It's just this is the process, right? But what happens is this is the downside of I'm going to be a narcissist who's not in touch with reality and treat everyone like they are props in my soap opera.
Right.
And that he's going to fuck the Raiders. Jerry Rice even came out and was ripping him, right?
Oh, yeah. Rice was
all
pissed.
These guys, I mean, he's just fucking everyone, right? He's talking shit on the Steelers. Ben tried to smooth over a bad thing. Fuck you.
Right.
He's secretly recording people and filming. Like, Antonio went so far off the edge of decency and being a normal guy and became this cartoon villain of the NFL that now when you hear something like this, my first reaction was, okay.
Well,
like this guy clearly makes bad decisions every day.
His whole thing, even when he put that video out, was like, I'm going to control my own narrative. Like, I am, you know, and like, well, you have now. And now you've controlled, you know, like, you didn't think it was going here, but
it's insane.
If you're gonna come out and act like that, you better make sure you don't have anything that's gonna come. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
because you're fucked.
And it is just one of those like it to me. It felt like the giant dick of karma.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, where it's the fact that this is happening right now. You're just like, oh my god, dude! It's almost the universe being like, you little fuck.
Yeah,
It's an insane story.
Well, here's the thing that kind of like is worrisome, I guess, to me. But like, so with all this stuff that's happened the last month and a half, like I was listening to the radio yesterday, and he's on Cameo, and they've had to shut his Cameo down because he was getting so many requests. There was impossible. Like he's become this like folk hero, almost to like, you know what I mean? Like he's reached this other level of fame, with this. And so, like, with these accusations, I just hope there's not that piling on, and they're like, oh, she's just fucking trying to grab money, and, like, all, you know what I mean?
That always happens, though.
Yeah, but, like, it's going to be amplified so much more. Yeah. And it's, you know, and it's just... It's
an ugly situation that's going to get worse. Yep. I mean, that's the thing is, again, that's what I always am like, I feel like we've lost our logic, right? Where it's take every accusation seriously, do the legwork. Right. Legally follow the process. The problem is that these cases are always hard as far as evidence. Yeah. There's time. It's hard to imagine like what the victim's going through, and maybe they're afraid, right? Like this is a powerful, rich guy. These legal cases are really tough. Yeah. But and again, that don't ever be the guy that's just like, I'm gonna go out and make my mind and then fucking try to let these people have their fucking legal dispute. Right. Don't find this lady and just fucking pile on. Like don't be that makes you a piece of shit. Like to be honest, that makes you a bad person.
If it comes out 6 months from now that she was lying, like whatever. You know. Right. But until then, like you have to take it seriously.
Here's what's most likely going to happen.
It's going to be a lopsided case one way or the other because Antonio Brown and his team are going to have a lot of money to throw at this.
But that's what I mean.
Money fucking talks, especially in the court system.
And this is what's happened.
Sadly, it shouldn't be, but it is.
Right. Unless he has those actual receipts, right, of the phone calls and him saying specifically what he did. Right. And even then, the third charge is the most serious, and she doesn't have that probably. Right. If she the evidence in these cases is hard.
Well, yeah. So because the burden of proof is all on her.
Right, and what's going to happen...
Or in that case, and there's almost never an eyewitness. Yeah. Because they're done, you know what I mean? It's done in secret. It's done behind closed doors. So it's...
I mean, but people have seen this, like, this happened to my wife in college. Some guy tried to lure her into the apartment. She was, like, blackout drunk, right? We were partying. She was trying to find her way to her friend's apartment, this and that, right? Her and her group of friends were going. She got turned around. Some guy lured her in. She thought it was the party. It wasn't. Right. And thank God nothing bad happened, but... This is a real serious thing a lot of us deal with. And what will happen, I'm assuming, is this will end in a settlement. No answers will be had. And then people will take it on themselves to be shitty to both these people. And that's become kind of this sick sport in our culture.
It sucks because that's one of the ways the system's broken. Yeah. But it's almost all of these end in some kind of settlement agreement or settlement. outside of the,
Yeah.
outside of actually sitting in a courtroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sad because you don't want to think someone got victimized. You'd rather just have the Antonio Brown story
Right.
end on the field, whether,
Right.
like, my hope was they got crushed in the Super Bowl and Antonio's the one that blew it.
Yeah.
Right?
God,
And
I'd love that.
Well,
Yeah.
imagine that offseason.
Yeah.
Where it's like Antonio dropped the pass and he's like, Tom Brady was never the GOAT. He fucking sucks. Look at his combine tape. That's the story I wanted, man. It's been a fun ride.
It really
but
was.
I think this is it. Like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It
Yeah.
got a little serious, but how do you not put the
You
bow
have to
on
address
this?
it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if we're doing it's all we've talked about for a month.
Yeah,
so
I
we gotta
wanted
talk about it.
I wanted the drop in the end zone to lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
after a perfect season. That's what I wanted.
My first text I sent, like right after he signed with the Patriots, was 2 seconds after he signed, I said, I hope he breaks his fucking leg.
See,
First play.
That one bothered me too because I read that a lot and I was like, that's so fucking mean. I was like, he's just an asshole. He's just a douche. But like, goddamn, man.
Well, it wasn't. My anger was solely on the Patriots. And
no, I mean, there were like massive amounts of people on Twitter like doing voodoo rituals to try to have broken
I'm
legs.
sticking to that conspiracy, by the way. I'm riding that till I die.
But this is what I mean, right? This could be karma for all parties.
I think the Patriots are shapeshifters. They're not. They're probably lizard people, and it's they're just having eyes wide shut parties all the fucking time. Hanging out with the Rothschilds. I'm telling you, they are.
Belichick probably slings the best dick at an eyes wide shut party. Just
like,
owns it.
We talked about like people we want to see fuck. A few pods ago,
dude.
Belichick is a guy that I just want to see how he fucks.
Now that you say it,
I bet it is just brutally awkward.
Well, my theory is that he's amazing at it, one, but it's in a joyless tactician kind of way. Like he's really like got the scowl and he's focusing on the X's and the O's, right? And he gets the job done.
Oh yeah,
and he wins every time. Yeah. But there is this soulless and joylessness to it.
I'd
watch it.
I would pay for that tape. Yeah, all day. All day. All right, that's probably our cue to leave this week. Thanks for hanging with us while we got a little serious there. We had to talk about it. Hope you guys had fun. Check out the Kent Murphy. Check out the AB video that we did. It's a pretty good parody. We're pretty proud of that. But check us out on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. We're on there. Subscribe. Rate us.
Rate, review on iTunes helps us out a ton.
Thanks, guys.